Hey guys, welcome back to Dmac Kustoms on the YouTube. Dave here in the garage, my little garage under my house, Area 51. This week we're back to trying to get this thing going. Last week we put a new fuel lines, fuel system sort of thing into the car with PTFE AN-6 AN fittings and stuff like that to replace our dodgy eBay push connect -6 fittings that were failing, or the hose was failing probably more than the fittings. This go around we're digging into the wiring, primarily on our coil harness wiring, and we make some breakthroughs. So this is a big one. It's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster trying to get this thing to go, and a really steep learning curve for a numpty like me. I now know more about LS coil sub-harness wiring schematics than I ever thought I would know, and it's been interesting, but it's been good, you know, like learn some stuff. And yeah, we turn the key on this thing again and figure out some things. So yeah, let's get into it. It's good times. I'm excited. You know, I've been doing some interneting and reading, and on the Holley Terminator forums, just sort of scanning. I haven't asked any direct questions on them myself yet. I've just been like scanning through previous questions and threads and stuff like that. And also the Holley Terminator Max, or Holley, one of the Facebook groups, pages or whatever, that people ask questions and stuff all the time. I sort of have been a kind of fairly regular lurker on there over the last couple 3 weeks, just looking for common sort of failings of the install, if you know what I mean. And you know, because I mean, I know there are instances where there have been failings with the hardware, but I really think this is the software thing, the soft side of the equation. It's making me feel really dumb. Honestly, doing a roof chop is sometimes less of a headache. Well, actually, I think it's less of a headache than trying to figure this shit out. But it got me, you know, the other week in the other video, I was rabbiting on about this circuit diagram and trying to sort of figure out, you know, whether I had power to the coils, and I determined that I do. There's been, you know, talk on some of those threads about putting the wrong harness, the coil harness, on the wrong side, you know, left to right, or odd to even to odd sort of thing. And I started doubting that I had done that for a couple of reasons. Okay, so my coil harness, when I bought this motor, it only came with one, like this manky old coil harness, and that's it. I don't know whether that's odd or even. I did work it out last night, but I can't remember what it was, or I didn't confirm it. And because I was trying to figure out which is the like signal wire to go to the coil, you know, to tell it to fire. And I started looking at the harness that I bought, which came wrapped up in this. And if you remember a few videos back, I kind of loomed it to get rid of this ugly plastic stuff. And on this harness, it was labeled 6 or 3 blue, you know, 2 to 7 red, 1 to 8 purple, 4 to 5 green, and then on the other bank, it's pretty much 2 of them are exactly the same: 2 to 7 red, 3 to 5 blue, 4 to 5 green, 1 to 8 purple. And so it was basically both of them was the same, and it, from what I thought, was it didn't really sort of matter which way you plug them in. And the other thing was, because of looking at all the wiring colours, the colours that are written on here don't actually match the colours that are on this harness. I'll unplug one and see if I can show you. These harnesses, I should say. Yeah, see. So we have pink, black, green and purple on that one. We have a green, we have a purple, we have a red, and we have a blue. No pink or black. So, excuse me, that's where it kind of got like, hey, what the hell? And so I found some information on which pin on the coil is the signal. So if you're looking at the coil, there should be a little tab drawn up top of here. So if you're looking at it that way, it should be terminal C is the signal wire sort of thing. And so if you're looking at this one from that point of view, that makes that the green wire the signal wire. But if you look at all of these, every single one is saying the green wire is the signal wire. So that's what makes me think I've got this round the wrong way. And a similar thing happens on the other side. Where are we? Let's see if I can get some better light in here. So just unplug one of these. This is difficult to do one-handed. See, that should be, according to that little thing I found on the interweb, it should be that green wire is terminal C. And again, I've got the green wire is on every single one of them on terminal C, which makes me think I've got this is all back to front. I'll probably need to swap these from, you know, side to side and then check to see whether it works out right. I've been trying to do the figuring in my head and whatnot, as you know, been trying to piece this out, but it makes my brain hurt, man. So it's like I'm pretty sure I've got them wrong from side to side. It doesn't necessarily explain the no spark thing, and some people have still managed to get them to run when they mix them up side to side, but they just run really bad, like the timing's out, or it's misfiring and stuff like that. So I'm gonna endeavour to pull these two harnesses back out and pull them out and try and piece it out so I can figure it out in my head. And just as another kind of clarifying point, I found a diagram on the internet which kind of lays out this. I'll try and put it up on the screen if I remember in the edit, that talks about, you know, what colour is what at what point, and that matches up more to this. And that diagram gets bandied around all sorts of forums and all over the internet, and when you Google LS coil sub harness wiring diagram, that image comes up, and it's from a aftermarket company sort of thing, but it's explaining what colours go where, like what's at number one, kind of laid out like this. But this is kind of what these should say but don't on my car, and the one on the internet shows how this one lays out. So, you know, if you're looking at it from that perspective, that the red wire is there, so that I think should be the even bank, or was that the odd? I can't remember now. I did work this out. So number one, purple. Or is it that way? That way. I don't know. I'm going to pull these harnesses out anyway and we'll have a look. Got my coil packs out, and this was my odd bank, this is my even bank. And I'm just sort of hoping to be able to kind of clarify what I've been jabbering on about. So if we have a look at this is a, you know, genuine GM harness, Bosch or Delco or whoever made it, whether it's just made in the Holden factory or Chev factory. Say for I just looked up the kind of number one should be the purple wire. This is what it should be. So if we look at this being number one, this coil here, here's our purple wire on this bank here, and you follow it through, and that, according to all the information, this, looking into the coil, this second pin here, which is C, should be our purple wire. So this that being said, that should be our purple wire. But if we look at the cheap Ching Wang bloody aftermarket harness, we're looking here, this terminal here, got the right way up. This is saying white wire on here, and if we come down here, white wire is in the wrong place. And that is true for all the others as well. So if we're looking, you know, for our blue signal wire, which is, it's kind of hard to see, this is really dirty and stuff, say, because we want it to be in our second position, which is here, so that one there. So next to the white wire would be the black wire, and that puts us into that one there. So black is coming down and it's landing one spot away, and we've got a green wire there, you know. So yeah, so I think by my logic these harnesses are wrong. I thought I could just take them out and spin them around, but it actually doesn't really matter. So because if you look at like that little scribble there, number 2 should be red. So if we swap that over, although it looks pink, that's actually our red pin there, and that's be our number 2. And where is the red? There, she looks like a dark pink. So that's, you know, getting into our C pin. You know, our C pin, and this one here is green, which it all adds up with this. It'd be red, green, light blue, and purple. So that all kind of goes red, green. Oh, there it is. Yeah, light blue and then purple. So the harnesses that I have on my coil packs aren't pinned right, or they're for something else. Now I'm not sure whether future LSs and that had a different pin out, unless they had different coils, but these plugs and that fit my Denso coils. They were a bit funny from memory. I think I trimmed something, so maybe they are just the wrong harnesses. Maybe I just bought the wrong ones. I bought them thinking they were for LS1 with Denso coils, but I bought them online. I think it was local. I think it was on Trade Me, so it's probably some, you know, Pung Chau bloody importer that just imports a whole pile of container load of junk from overseas and then just proceeds to sell it off slowly and, you know, get rid of their junk. So I'm going to ponder this and see whether I can maybe repin this harness, like repin these coil plugs, but I'll have to go through and actually do some proper working out, and because all the colors are different to, you know, factory stuff, and a lot of aftermarket stuff, the colors are different too. So I have to see whether I can actually even repin it. If I can't, I'm going to be in the market for a couple of new sub harnesses, and that'll stop us in our tracks at this point. So we'll have a wee look and then we'll be back in a sec. Hey guys, little update. I did actually manage to get one pin to come undone. It is a little bit of a mission, but I did a little bit more like wire tracing from my kind of factory coil harness and comparing it and stuff. And it seems to be like everything on my aftermarket harness is like 180 degrees out. So like even the grounds, like the grounds on the factory harness of the black wire and the brown wire, they should be, you know, the bottom 2 terminals there, and that is basically on this aftermarket harness. That kind of purpley grapey coloured wire and the green wire are my grounds, but they are sitting up here where my signal and my 12 volts should be in theory. So the these 2 wires, one's a full chassis ground and one's like a return signal from what I can gather. Like it sends a little signal, a little ground signal back to the ECU to say, yep, I fired, shot. So that's what I can kind of figure. So by the looks of things, all of these are kind of 180 out sort of thing. So whether I, you know, bother, I mean, I've got to de-pin all of these, and I could, you know, kind of be creating a problem for myself. If I cock it up, I'll have one of them that's out. If I sit and work out a kind of real map to follow, I might be alright. But if I cock that map up, I could be well wrong and then end up chasing a misfire or not a no start issue. Check it out. So I'm able to kind of depin these, and then I have to bend these little tabs, the little locking tabs back out. It's a bit of a fiddly sort of process, but I might be alright. I'll show you, I've done 2, halfway through my 3rd. Oh, I've got that bloody ground wire tangled up again. Hang on, I'll just fix that. I thought I had that sorted. So on my aftermarket harness, this kind of, it's probably brown, I guess. It looks like a dark purple, but that's my kind of ground, and then that's my kind of chassis ground, and that's my kind of ECU ground sort of thing. And then that red wire is my signal, and the pink wire is my 12 volt key positive. And I'm kind of running through wire by wire as I do them, comparing their position on the plug, and then working through comparison to the aftermarket plug. So this one here I'll do as an example. So if I look at my ground wire, which is that kind of browny purpley one on this harness, that traces back to that position there on this plug with it facing that way, which on the factory plug is my straight black wire. So my straight black wire on this plug that I'm about to do is the bottom one. And then likewise the green wire next to it is on the opposite corner of this plug, on the little alone pin there, which is my brown wire, which is the wire next to. And in this particular case, my signal wire on this harness is black, which if we look at the plug is over the other side next to the ground, which on my factory harness is light blue, and that puts us in that number 2 position. And our pink wire is always our 12 on both harnesses. So I've just got to like reconnect these. So my ground wire, these are all basically 180 out, so I can flip them all that way, and then my ground goes in there, click, and then my other ground goes in next to it, click. Did I get it the right way? Sometimes I don't want to go back in because they get a little bit. Alright, so that got that one in. And then my black wire, which is my signal wire, always goes into this terminal here, which is terminal C according to some paperwork, but I'll just call it my signal terminal. And so we just feed that in. And click, and then my 12 volt positive, that's going in on top. Oh, it's twisted. Click, and then we get this little plastic clippy thing, and that goes back on like so. But as you've seen, I keep getting the other wires tangled up in the equation, so that's just got to, there it is, and then that just clicks down on there. I don't really know what that does, it just divides the wires or whatever. So that, if we look at all our others that I've done so far, should put our ground, our chassis ground at the bottom, chassis grounds at the bottom, ECU ground, the green one, second from the bottom, and then our signal wire, red, yellow, in that case black, and then our 12 volt positives, and that's the same kind of format all the way through here. So we've got our ground, our ECU ground, our signal wire, and then a 12 volt positive, and then same on there, and same on there. And these harnesses, I was thinking about it, I was thinking they should be swappable from side to side. It's the harness that's in the main, on the main harness that isn't. It has a definite odd and even. I think these can be swappable from side to side, but just not 180 out with the plumbing, you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to carry on off camera and kind of work my way through this, because I get messed up if I'm trying to talk about it at the same time. So I'll just keep nerding out on depinning these. I'm sort of one more to do on this bank. This is my even bank, and then we flip it over and we'll do the odd bank. You know what I'm saying? Heady stuff, man, this electrical business. But I think God, I hope I haven't screwed this up. Try to keep it a family channel. And yeah, I have to go and check for fuel leaks again shortly and just see whether anything's worked its way out, but so far so good. So we'll check back in a wee bit. Depinned, repinned, checked, triple checked. I think I've got it all right. I've just been through them again. Like our 12 volt is the pink wire on our factory harness, and we've got that the same all the way through here now. Our signal wire is the second one down, and it's that red wire in this case, which is the red wire in this case. Blue here, yellow here, black here, blue here. Oh, sorry, what's that? Blue, what's that one? Green, sorry. Green there equates to yellow on that. And then blue equates to black on this harness, and purple equates to white on this harness. And so we have the same dealio here for the even bank, but just in the opposite order. So what I was saying before, in theory, you should be able to take this sub harness and put it on that bank, and it shouldn't matter, I think. And I've kind of been through, done all kind of comparing, made sure we're all in the right thing. So we should have red, yellow, black, white on that second thing down from the top. Is that right? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it always stays at the top because the coils don't get flipped, they just get turned around. Yeah. So we should be good to go. So I'm going to go and have some lunch and just chew on this in my brain and make sure nothing pops in there and says, hey, hang on, what about... Then I'll come back and check it with some fresh eyes again before we put them back in the car. Okay, so coil packs are on, plugged in, HT leads are plugged in, power up. Another thing I've kind of been messing around with over the last couple of weeks is just like looking at the sort of the tune in the ECU, just kind of playing around in the software. And one thing that bothered me was not being able to kind of get the correct injectors that I have on this LS1 in the Holley software. You can do a custom kind of map for them, and I found a couple of forum posts with people having the same issue with these EV1, EV6, I can't remember now, this particular Bosch injector, which I found odd that Holley didn't have them listed, as the old LS1 was kind of the first of the Gen 3 LS engines, and was in a lot of Camaros and Corvettes and over these parts, all the early Holden Commodores, early LS powered Commodores, about 3 or 4 years of them. And yeah, so I found this map, so I programmed it in. I haven't put it into the ECU yet, but it is on the SD card, so I might load that program, that map, that tune, it's not really a tune, but it is a tune, into the ECU before we kind of try and pull the trigger on this thing. So I'll just get that done. I think I've showed you that before. I'm not really an expert on it by any stretch, but fire it up. Fuel pump priming. Can't hear running stuff, you know. So we go file global config. this one here, so it's got custom injectors, so that's basically I've been adding my speedo tune and whatnot. So I'll upload that, upload to ECU. Done. Turn the ignition off for seconds for it to take effect. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, okay, 5 1000, and maybe just a little 6 1000. It's probably going to want to do a TPS reset. So we'll do that. TPS auto set, make sure the ignition is on. Start. Go next. Auto set was successful. So, does that mean I can pull the trigger on it now? Or I'm not sure. I think so. Okay, so not sure, but I actually recorded just then, but I just uploaded a new tune, did the TPS reset. The new tune has got the correct configuration for my injectors, hopefully, so we'll give it a shot. Well, that was different. Something fired. I think I might need to run a data log and try again and see what's happening. Definitely I didn't have any kind of popping or firing before, whereas now I have. So I'll do a data log, set a data log and try again. Okay, so I just did a data log and another popping and struggling to turn over, which is super weird. I don't really know what's going on there. Still sounds like a timing issue sort of thing, so I've got a 30 seconds of crank, so I'll have a look at that when I get a minute. But yeah, as for that kind of weird crank, sounds like it's hydraulicing. Maybe I should pull the plugs. Hopefully I haven't. Because if it was fueling before, I should have evaporated by now. Yeah, don't know. I didn't look at the injectors. I was thinking of looking at the injectors and giving them a good kind of clean and stuff on the fuel system video or fuel system challenge. But yeah, I kind of got caught up like wanting to have a look at that electrical stuff. So as for why I just got that weird little backfire and stuff trying to crank it, I don't know. Maybe I have cocked up these harnesses even more. I don't think so though. Like everything I kind of figured out made sense at the time. But yeah, we'll keep persevering. I was hoping to have this magic fire up moment, but it wasn't to be. So seen anything real obvious that I've missed, let us know in the comments. This will probably come out in about 3 weeks and I may have it going by then, or I'll have this out in a small block Chevy in there. But yeah, so hopefully we'll figure it out. Thought I'll go back to basics, and so I came back downstairs after closing everything up for the day, and I thought, right, I'll just start from scratch as far as the the startup process on this Terminator Max. So I went through the wizard again, entered in all my parameters, even the fuel injectors that are supposedly closest to what I have in the car, and it went, sort of. So okay, so when I say it went sort of, it does go. And I'll show you in a minute. But man, it smogged out this place. It was running super rich. I'm not sure why. It doesn't sound like it's, well, it just sounds like it's heavily choked, maybe not running on all cylinders. But yeah, so we'll give it another kick in the guts and see what you fellas think. I have a little fan down here just to try and extract. Yeah, hopefully that'll do us. Try and extract some of the fumes out of the garage, because man, she was foggy. So we'll get this into, it's already got just a real basic calibration tune and that in it, the initial one. So we'll start this up and we'll go to monitors and go initial startup. So what do we got? Idle air positions at 89%. IAC position. What did it say in the book about that? Hang on a sec. Okay, so it's saying IAC position is 89%, and in the book here, under the idle cable settings, operated plate setting, it says the IAC position is showing 0. You must open the plates to read between 2 and 10. Slowly turn the throttle shaft adjustment screw on the throttle body out counterclockwise. If the IAC position is stuck at 0, it's likely that the engine is idling higher at a higher speed, and you have set the target idle speed for. You need to adjust the throttle plates to resolve the issue. If the idle position value is greater than 10, it's a good idea to turn the throttle shaft adjustment screw in clockwise the throttle plates until the IAC position value is between 2 and 10. Okay, note that if you open the throttle plate position such that the TPS position goes above 0, you'll need to shut the vehicle off and perform a TPS auto set. So I might just try adjusting that before I go too far, because you know, if I can avoid fogging out the garage, it would be quite good. So need a little 7mm, and there's my, where is it? It's in there. It should be opening the plates up a bit. We'll see what it's done. It's at 89. Idle. Yeah. That hasn't really done anything. Still saying idle 89%. Opening it up a fair bit, but it's not changing anything on there. Hang on, I'll try. Cycling the key again. There's my little pen thing. What do we want? Monitors. It's still saying idle 89%. Wonder if I've got a bad sensor, bad IAC sensor. I mean, that should be, you know, I don't want to crank it wide open. That just seems like too much. I don't know, I might wind that back down a little bit because it's open now. It's like having the throttle half open. Okay, so I wound the throttle plates back. It's still saying IAC position 89%. When it shouldn't really be anything above 10, I would have thought. I've just done a throttle position reset, TPS reset, so we'll give it a kick and see what it does. sort of idled, but not really. You can tell it sounds like it's got a bigger cam than it actually has. Condensation coming out of there. Little green lights on there, so yeah, I don't know why it's running so rough. But I don't know whether it's missing or what. I mean, shit, it could even be some of my plug leads that I made, you know, not working properly. It definitely needs new plugs. So that could be part of it. That might be something I need to kind of look at sorting out. But it is actually slightly better than it was before. Well, it's not running as long, but that's enough of that. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but she's thick in here, but it runs. So we've got some tuning to attend to, so I might download the map that's in it now and make the adjustments to those fuel injectors and see if that helps. Maybe try that, and then yeah, it could just be the injectors are, you know, it thinks there's got more injectors or whatever than it has, or something like that. I don't know, like this electronic doodadery is a bit of a mystery, but man, she's foggy in here. My fan on? Oh, that's not even going. Oh, yeah, it is. Why not turn it up? Celsius. Okay, so I'll go and do some computering and stuff and see if we can make some sense of this. Yeah, it's got to go into... No, what am I doing? File. Global configs. That's the one that it's running on now, so I'm going to download that one. Save as. I'll just say runs. Okay, so downloading that onto the little SD card. Done ski. So now we can take that out and put it in the computer. Hey guys, so just been and had a little tutu around on the computer and took my global file and got the injector map parameters kind of dialed into it. I'll put them up on the screen if I remember. I saved, it took me a while to find them again actually. I sort of hunted around in all these forums. There's not a lot of information about these particular injectors. I just kicked it in the guts again and it did actually start running a bit better again, but it seems to kind of get to a point that it starts like bogging down, like it's over fueling and, you know, heavy black sooty smoke. So I'm not sure why, but it's sounding kind of goodish. But we're making gains, so it goes. Kind of exciting stuff. We'll give it another little fire up. See what I mean? It kind of gets to a point, like did it better before when it was kind of like a bit of a cold start. It kind of fired up and it actually was starting to idle quite nice, and then it started doing that, started like bogging down and choking out sort of thing. So don't know what that's all about, but I am kind of excited. This is me excited. It's going, but it's like still freaking me out. Don't quite know why it's doing that. I'm not smart enough to really understand what I'm looking at in those data logs and whatnot as far as fuel and IAC control and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to have to get educated to some degree, because I can't do any of that kind of closed loop learning driving sort of stuff at the moment. They haven't got a drive shaft or seats or anything like that. But yeah, it does go. But yeah, I'm just not sure what's going on. It just seems like it's getting way too much fuel. As for why, it could still be wrong spec on those injectors, but it is starting to even out a bit, you know. So I don't know. We'll persist. This thing's starting to warm up. The alternator's getting a bit of heat in it. That's weird. A little bit of heat in the water pump. Nothing serious, major. Kind of used to seeing things like squirters squirting and things like that when you do that, but just kind of opening up the throttle body and having not much happen. The second blades sort of open up quite late, I would have thought, but yeah, so she goes. so shut her down because she's pumping the oil out and power steering fluid. Yes, fixed one leak. We're not leaking fuel, but man, she's sounding heaps better. It's really starting to even out. I was trying to get it to get kind of warmed up enough to kick the fan on. I wanted to see whether that was going to kick. At this stage, nah. I got it up to 188 degrees. I can't remember what the fan's set to come on at. I do want to make sure that these wires stay well away from my exhaust. So I'll have to, not that one there, that's this sucker, that keeps falling down. What's that one for again? I can't remember what that one is. Oh, that's all my fan and everything, I think. So I need to tie this back and get it away from my headers, well not headers, my just exhaust manifolds. Oh, heat coming off the engine. I've never had that on this engine, but she goes. I'm waiting on an oil pan gasket. Obviously it wasn't that cam sensor O-ring, bummer. But yeah, so she's alive. Excited. See, excited. It goes. It sounds quite good now that it's starting to even out a bit. She sounds not bad. So I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Obviously changing those harnesses around made all the difference. How can you buy a brand new kind of harnesses and then they'd be wired up backwards? And how can a dummy like me find it? But I did. So yeah, exciting, cool stuff. Right, so it goes, and it's not, it seems to have settled down with the like really choking out sort of thing. I don't know whether that's just a fresh start Holley system sort of thing or not, but that's what it did. And now it seems to be getting better. Definitely happy, other than the leaks. I've got a leak. You can see that. I think it's that clamp there. I hope it is. Well, as for why, yeah, so we've got trans fluid all leaking through there. Now it's all underneath my grill. So I might see if I can tighten that off now. See if just pinching that up helps, whether it's not pinched up far enough or something, but we'll see if I can tighten that up. Okay, so tightened up my trans cooler, and I think that's kind of stopped. I've run it again. I've just run it again, just briefly in that, just to see. But yeah, no more today. No more, promise, because I've got to get that oil leak fixed more than anything, because it is dripping a bit, and I think it was down a little bit when I checked it this morning. Starting just now, it kind of wanted to idle super low, and then it kind of like picked up. I can't remember what the temperature was saying on the gauge on the dash. It was saying like 200 and something, which, where does that read from? Can't remember where that one is hooked up. Because the factory temp sender is hooked up down here, which is the one into the Holley, to the ECU. I can't remember where I hooked up the other one, but at this point the fans aren't kicking in, and I'm sure it got to the high enough stage where they should have. So I might just have a look and see what the parameter is for the fans to kick in, and then not too worried about it at the moment, but I don't want to be kind of getting it hot. That was interesting. I just turned the ignition back on and the fans are on, so it feels like they're blowing out this way. I need to get a little ribbon or something. I wonder if I got it wired back to front. Hope not. That would be dumb. I'm sure I switched the fan around, but working quite right. It just doesn't feel right. I feel cold here. So it's like it's pulling. Working, but it's blowing air back out, so I think what I'll have to do is get this either closer or build a rubber kind of thing to kind of create a shroud to kind of force it in properly, you know what I'm saying? So that's good, fans on. So it's a win. So obviously we're not going to kick off and with it not running, because it needs to get the internal temperature down to 185 or whatever it was to switch them off again. So with no coolant circulating, it's not going to do that. But pretty sure the thermostat opened, because this is just smoking up there, boy. Yeah, just used a bit of sandpaper. I was looking for a bit of something light that would pull into the fan, but I'll put that back out there for next time I have to do some sanding on something. I can probably switch this fan off now. It's not fogging us out with fumey, rich, over fueling smells. But yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave it today. Anyway, so I really need to get me some sparking plugs. I've got to get that oil leak sorted though, man. And this power steering's leaking there. I'll put some more kitty litter down, and yeah, there was a reasonable puddle on that piece of cardboard, as you've seen earlier. But yeah, I might just chuck the air cleaner back on just for now to cover that up. I'll still have to do some IAC adjustments. I think when I was pissing around with it earlier, it needs to be at operating temperature and stuff. I didn't really think that through, but I noticed as it was warming up, the percentage was coming down, and then once it kind of got to a kind of normal running temperature, it was at 0. So I need to kind of maybe adjust it up so it's between 2 and 10. So 0 is a bit low, which is fine. You can kind of, you give it a bit of a rev, it's a bit of a hesitation, then when it kind of comes down slow sort of thing. But definitely on the right path now. So until we meet again, which will probably be next weekend now, hopefully I'll have that oil pan gasket and I can investigate that. I'm hoping it's the oil pan gasket that needs doing and not a rear main. Otherwise, to do a rear main, two options: transmission out or engine out. Don't really want to do either, but if it is one of those, it's going to have to be done. So I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to tell when I take the pan off whether it is the pan or not. If there's oil all over the place, it'll probably be not that obvious. But yeah, rear main without a lift and a transmission jack. Mission to do it on the ground, but not impossible. You might just have to get some huge axle stands. I know where some are. Okay, from Bunny's garage, he's got some big ones that were in the father-in-law's workshop up at his place now. And yeah, at the moment, yeah, they'll have to get it up pretty high off the ground to get a 4L60E out from underneath, or even just to get it pushed back enough. If I could do that down and back, I might be able to get up into the back of the block to go like this and then try and do it that way. Won't be fun. I'd rather get it down and out of the way. Well guys, that's where I'm going to leave this video, on a high note. Area 51 starts and runs although not great at the moment, it is healing and getting better, or learning and getting better. But I can't do too much more until I figure out that oil leak, because it is substantial. So I've got a sump gasket on the way, should be here this week. If it's not that, it could be a rear main seal, which, like as I said, gearbox or motor has to come out. Not fun, but it is what it is. That's cars and dealing with, you know, unknown motors. You know, it was a supposed good motor, and it does seem to be a good motor other than oil leak. And I've got to sort out that power steering leak as well. So as always, thanks heaps for watching. Not quotes, thanks heaps for watching. We're on the Instagram and Facebook. If you're heading over that way, you want to have a look. I don't really post a hell of a lot on there at this stage. It's just more kind of updates saying there's a new video coming. And like, share, comment. If you haven't subscribed by this point, please do. It's free, and you hit the notifications bell too, because then you'll get notified. I've heard some YouTubers talking about their views dropping off and people not getting notifications. So I know I can see some notifications get picked up on, some don't on my analytics, but my channel is so small and sometimes I don't even hit 100 views on a video. So hopefully this one gets a few more than that. But anyway, till next time, take it easy and peace. So we might be doing a pan gasket. I've got to do something with my fan too. It's kind of not working as it should. Well, sort of. I'll explain it when I get there. Till next week. See ya.